Welcome to the second session of the ninth Adhyaya of Sri Bhagavad Gita. We start with the gratitude towards the Lord, through whose grace everything is possible. Go down to our Guru Parampara, the lineage through which this knowledge is protected, preserved and passed on for generations. I pay my respects to my Guruji, Vijay Guruma, through whose grace I am able to learn the scriptures and pass on this, share this understanding with you. We start with the prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Currently we are doing the ninth Adhyaya, which is called Rajavidya Rajaguhya Yoga. So let us understand what this is. Essentially, from the seventh Adhyaya onwards, the six Adhyayas from the 7th to the 12th are devoted towards bhakti, devotion. And this essentially is an introspection or going deep into understanding what is the meaning of Tat Padartha. Tat is a Paramatma. So we need to understand the real Swarupa of Paramatma, and in these Adhyayas, Bhagavan Shri Krishna is trying to tell us what are the different Swarupas of Bhagavan himself and how we can devote to him. So it starts with Lord's Pratigna, his pledge, that I'll give you this Gnana, Vignana, this Rajaguhya Yoga, I'm going to tell you with everything. And the subjects of these Adhyaya, mainly of course Gnana and Karma are talked about, actions, but the main subject matter of this Adhyaya is devotion, is bhakti. Because when we have to connect to the divine, bhakti is the way to connect to the divine. So let us understand what is Rajavidya and Rajaguhya. Rajavidya is Lord Krishna is talking about this knowledge of self, knowledge of the Brahman, knowledge of the eternal consciousness, which is also called Atma Gnana, Brahma Gnana or Brahma Vidya. And this is the ultimate goal of human existence. That's why it is important to understand what is this and how we can see this. So that is the sadhya or the goal. And this gnana itself is a guhya gnana because it is hidden. It is not amenable or open to everyone to understand, to assimilate, to live in their life. That's why it is called guhya. Though it is with us, it is part of our own self, it is part of our own consciousness. We experience it every day, but still we do not know it properly. That's why it is called a guhya gnana. That's why it is a raja guhya. It is like a trade secret of the state. And this is the yoga. The yoga is the way to connect to the divine. So that is a yoga. Yoga is kind of a upaya, yukti or a solution. Some kind of a method that we can connect to the divine. So karma yoga is karma through which we can connect to the divine. Bhakti yoga is devotion through which we can connect to the divine. Gnana yoga is the gnana through which we can connect to the divine. So these are the three sadhanas for us, and these are to obtain the Atma Gnana or the sadhya or the goal, the divinity. So this understanding of what is to be achieved and how it is to be achieved is of fundamental importance on this path before we actually set out to achieve what we want to achieve. So this is called the sadhya, sadhana, viveka. And this understanding, this discrimination, this clarity of thought can only be given by Guru, and that is how we embark on this path. So we start with the 11th shloka. Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam jananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. So here Lord Krishna talks about his nirguna swarupa, his original self, his true self, and he says what? Mudha Purusha. Avajananti mam mudha. Those ignorant, those mudha, those who are deluded, those who don't have the clarity, those ignorant, they don't know me. He says, and they believe manushim tanum ashritam. Means they believe that I am only limited to this human form. They devote to me as name and form God. They devote to me. They feel that I'm born, like all of us do, and then I live, and then I die, and I am restricted to this body, to this nama rupa. So that is what these ignorant people believe. That's what Lord Himself says, that He is not this limited to this body. We should try to see Lord in a much, much more एक्सपेंसिव वे, विस्तृत और विस्तार से हमको देखना चाहिए, भगवान को कैसे देखना चाहिए. दैट इज व्हाट लॉर्ड कृष्ण टॉक्स इन दिस अध्याय. परम भावम अजानंतो, दे डोंट नो माय ट्रू सेल्फ, माय ओरिजिनल सेल्फ, माय निर्गुण निराकार स्वरूप, व्हिच इज माय ट्रू रियल सेल्फ. ही सेज मम भूत महेश्वर, आई एम द लॉर्ड ऑफ ऑल द बीइंग्स, आई एम ईश्वर, आई एम द लॉर्ड, आई एम सब भूतों और इवन देवताओं के भी महेश्वर. So this is the root cause of mudha, and that is the moha, because its moha is developed because of the ajnana. We don't know our true self, our atma swarupa, and this ajnana leads to moha, and this causes the mudita, so that we are not able to think properly. And these people believe that Lord is only limited to oneself. God Himself is unlimited power, unlimited energy. We cannot be limited to a name or a form or a body. That is not just possible. But these people, he says, Lord Krishna says that they don't know this, and that's why they miss the real essence of my tattvic, the tattva or my tattvika swarupa. He says param bhavam ajananto, they don't know my real self, my tattvik swarupa, which is the Maheshwara, the Ishvara tattva. And what do these ignorant people do? Think. That is what Lord Krishna says in this shloka. Moghasha moga karmano मोघज्ञान विचेतसः राक्षसीम् आसुरीं चैव प्रकृतिं मोहिनीं श्रिताः. So moga asha. So these people who are ignorant, they have useless desires. They are always, all the time, they desire the worldly objects. They believe that these worldly objects will give me some happiness, which is also very transient, but they keep going after it. So they do all their activities to get this kind of worldly pleasures, worldly sensual pleasures, and this is what they are all the time involved in. Moga karmana, their actions are also selfish. They do mainly for their own self, for their own near and dear ones and the family, rather than for the society or the world at large. And that's why they do all this karma to achieve some kind of a bhoga, so that they can enjoy these pleasures. And that's what all their karma are sakama karma. They are all made for some desires which they have, and these desires are also material pleasures. Moga gnana. Moga gnana is that knowledge is also useless. They believe the knowledge is that these objects of the world will give them some happiness. That's why all that they try to achieve is these outer objects of happiness in the world, and they do not think beyond this. They do not go deep inside them. They do not try to look for something who is hidden, the Lord who is hidden amongst all these material objects. That is something that they miss out, and that is what is this moga gnana. Vichetasa. Vichetasa means you don't have proper viveka. They don't have proper thoughts. They don't think properly. They don't have that discriminative kind of intellect which will determine what is the true thing, what they see is actually, is it the truth or not? This kind of questions need to be asked. Raksashim asurim chaiva prakriti mohinim shitaha. Raksashim means they behave very rudely, crudely, and they do not have any daya. Just like Rakshasa, they don't have any daya. They are, very rude in their behavior. Asurim vritti. Asurim vritti is the behavior where they are completely involved all the time in sensual pleasures, in bhoga. That is what asuras do. Mohinim cha eva prakrutim ashritaha. They are surrendered to moha, maya, and which leads to all the delusions, moha, bandhana. All is because of this maya, and they are ashrita. They are surrendered. They are always, maya makes them run around for generating wealth, for getting pleasures, for comforts. All these moha, maya, they keep rotating around all their attachments, mamata, in this world, and that is how they live with all these Rakshasi and Asurim Vritti. And Lord Himself has said in the 6th Adhyaya, Maya metam tarantite mayeva mana ashritaha, or mam come to me, come to my shelter, and you'll be relieved from the Maya, the main clutches of the Maya. You'll be relieved. So that is what Lord Himself has said in the previous Adhyaya. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakrutim ashritaha bhajantyananya manaso gnatva bhutadimavyayam. So here Lord Krishna is showing the other part. He says tu partha mahatmanaha. Tu means it's a pakshantara, it is the other side, the opposite side. However, O Arjuna, great men, this mahatmana, those who are opposite to what he has previously said, moga asha, moga gnana, vimudaha, mudaha, moha. So people who are having intellect, they have those who have this faith in this path, they have the desire to understand what is the supreme truth. Those who have the right kind of a viveka, right kind of intellect to discriminate what is true, what is not true. These people, Lord Krishna Himself says that they are Mahatmana, they are great men. And who are these great men? One, He says three things. One, Daivim Prakrutim Ashritaha. They always try to achieve or absorb more good values. They surrender to these good values. Daivi Prakriti, Lord Krishna is going to say in the further adhyayas about what are these Daivi Prakriti or Daivi Sampatti. But essentially, Shama, Dama, Uparati, Shraddha, Titiksha, Samadhana, all these are Devi Prakriti, Shama, Adi, Shat, Sampatti. So these are something that we must all try to achieve. Bhajanti Mam Ananya Manasa. So those who worship me with a Ananya Manasa means single point or one pointed devotion. And the third thing Lord Krishna says is Gnatva Bhut Adim Avyayam, that they know me, they understand, they have this knowledge that I am not just limited to this body, but I am eternal, I am Avyayam, I am indestructible, I am imperishable, I am changeless, and I am Bhuta Adim, that I am the source of all the Bhuta. All these Bhuta, all these beings, they arise from this source, from the Lord, from the Ishvara. So this is the way we need to know. So Lord Krishna talks about three things. One, we should try to absorb good values always. Number one. Second is devotion to the Lord, which is also very important. And devotion with a dedication, with a 1 point Ananya Manasa. And third is devotion with a kind of an understanding that Lord is not just limited to this form, but Lord is everywhere, He's all pervading, He's the Ishvara. So this is what we need to understand. So this understanding shows us what are the different ways we can do bhakti or devotion to the Lord. Most of us, we only understand bhakti as worship to this Saguna, Ishvara, or gods. Gods basically those who have the name, form of the Lord. There are many different types of God in our Hindu way of life. There are many such different types of Lord, and people worship according to their own faith. They worship the different gods. So this is normally considered to as bhakti. But according to the Lord Krishna here, we have to try to see Lord or Bhagwan in a different way. So from the Saguna Sakar Swarupa or the Avtara Swarupa of the Ishvara, we have to again understand what is this Saguna Nirakar or Saguna Sakar Ishvara Swarupa of the Lord. And there are different forms of Lord. Lord Krishna in this Adhyaya also is going to talk about the Vibhutis. Vibhutis are, the way we can see Lord in this world in different areas, which Lord Krishna is going to talk in this Adhyaya as well as in the next Adhyaya. In great details in the 10th Adhyaya, he is going to talk about all the Vibhuti Yoga, because that Adhyaya itself is a Vibhuti Yoga. The second is the Antaryami. God Himself says, even in the Upanishads it is mentioned, Rit Pundarikam Vichintya Madhye, means that I am inside. And that's what our Upanishads say, that God created this world and then He went inside all the beings. So Antaryami Swarupa, that is the second way we can see Ishvara. The third is the Virata Swarupa. That means the Stula, gross, large, as the world itself, as the world is the body of the Lord, that is the Virata Swarupa. And that is also Lord is going to talk about in the further Adhyayas. And the Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa Adhyaya is the 11th Adhyaya where Lord Krishna shows his Vishwarupa Darshana to Arjuna. So all these different types of Ishvara Swarupa is going to be talking about. But we need to understand that Lord is the Nimitta and the Upadana Karana of this entire world. The entire world comes from Him. The universe The entire universe, all the planets, all the solar systems, everything arises from the Lord. So that is the way we have to look at the Lord as a source of all the beings. And we should also understand that Bhagavan gives all the karma. He is a karma dhyaksha, karma phala data. Whatever karma we do, whatever we achieve in life, or whatever we get in life as a reward or even as a punishment, whatever happens to us in our life, whatever events come to our life, they're all because of our karma phala. But these karma phala are decided by the Lord according to His laws. These karma phala are being given, and that's why we can say that He is the giver of all these karma phala. So though our karmas lead to our specific actions, but it is the Lord who determines what kind of karma gives rise to what kind of karma phala. And finally, Lord Krishna talks about his Nirguna Nirakar Swarupa, which is his Tattvik Swarupa, which is his original form, which is his true form. He says that is the Nirgun, it is the unmanifest form, Avyakta Murtina. He's already said that in the 8th Adhyaya, that he is Avyakta Murtina. That is what people don't understand. He says, Maya idam tatam sarvam jagata, that everything is pervaded by me, and his original form is Avyakta Murtina. So that's what we have to understand. And that itself is one, it is not different. And that from different forms we have to gradually go towards the one form of the Lord. So that is how we have to start our devotion to the Saguna Sakar Swarupa of the Lord, which is Avatar Swarupa, and then gradually move on to seeing Lord everywhere in the Ishvara, initially in some Vibhutis in some areas, and then as our Antaryami, and then as a Virat Swarupa, Vishwarupa, and being seeing him as the Nimitta Upadana Karana, who is a Karma Dhyaksha, Karma Phala Data. So whenever there is Karma Phala Data, means there is a Guna involved. So this is the Guna. Ishvara here, the Brahma, who is the Nirguna Ishvara, when he gets help from Maya. Of course, Maya is also surrendered to Brahma, but then he becomes Ishvara. So that is the Ishvara, which is a Saguna. He becomes Saguna. It could be Nirakara or Sakara, Saguna Ishvara, but finally the original self is the Nirguna Nirakara Brahma. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha tradha vrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. So here, how to devote to the Lord? Lord Krishna shows 6 ways. Satatam kirtayantama, always involved in my chanting, he says. And chanting means either it could be name chanting, which is called nama or japa, or it could be the chanting of devotional songs, poetry, and this is called kirtana, bhajana. All these are basically devotional chanting of the Lord. Cha yatantaha. Yatantaha means a seeker who is ready to perform all the efforts, or already wants to, all the efforts that are needed to go on this path, he is ready to do. Dradhavrataha, that efforts he is doing with a firm resolve. So the Drad Niyama, he wants to take some Niyama or rules in his life so that he involves with this on this path with discipline to reach to his goal. Namasyanta Chamam, he surrendered to me with gratitude always, because Namaskar, outer Namaskar, means that in the inner self we accept the greatness of the opposite person, and that we have that gratitude all the time, that grace of the Lord is flowing in us all the time. Bhaktya upasate. So Bhakti and Upasana both are the same meaning, but here the meaning of this word is they Upasana karte hai, devoted to the Lord, but with Bhakti Bhava. Bhakti Bhava means with a lot of emotions, with a lot of feeling, and Lord is very clear in the further shlokas. You will know that how Lord is he likes the Bhava, Bhakti Bhava. Nitya Yukta Upasate, worships with the control over the self. Indriya Sanyam, Mana Sanyam is there for a Bhakta, and these are very important attributes of any Bhakta. So what are the benefits of the devotion, Bhakti in life? It is, yes, Bhakti is one of the main ways to connect to the Divine, where we accept His greatness in our life. We consider Him as a priority, as the most valuable thing in this life. We consider Lord as a Karmadhyaksha, Karma Phaladata, Jagat Niyanta, so we see Him in a very different perspective. And it gives us the right understanding, samajhdari, that whatever happens to me, whatever is happening to me, it is the Lord's gift to me. It is a prasad of the Lord, and that's why I should accept it whatever happens, I should not try to complain. So this allows us to accept gracefully all situations that happen in our life, and that is the biggest benefit of bhakti. It makes us graceful, it makes us humble, it makes us, acceptance, it makes us to surrender to the Lord, and it helps us to understand these things. And this is a very, very important life skill, because it imparts a very positive attitude for us. So whatever happens to us, if we don't like it, even though there is something which is against our wishes, but we learn from these events or these situations, and we then go ahead rather than sitting and complaining about those situations. Basically, bhakti, the true bhakti will give a lot of peace to the seeker. There is no complaint, because whenever anything happens, he sees that as the grace of the Lord, and then he does not have a raga, dvesha or mamata against those events. And essentially it helps us to lessen our ego, our pride, because whatever we do, we think that I am the doer, but if instead we feel that I am the instrument, the Lord is the doing it, all this is being done through him, through his grace, through me, then it definitely lessens our ego and makes us more humble. And essentially bhakti gives us this life-changing skill. It is this skill, if we learn properly, then it has a potential to transform our life, to make it much less easier, effortless, without much baggage, without much stress. We can leave a lot of things to the Lord, and still it is not that we don't remain in karma. We do our best in our karma. We do it with the utmost dedication, with the utmost satisfaction, but always in the back of the mind that anusmara, that nam smarana is always going on for the Lord. And wherever we see whatever is happening, we always remember the Lord, that we don't become more egoistic. For the 15th shloka, Gnana yagnena chapyanye yajanto mamupasate ekatvena pruthatvena bahudha vishvato mukham. So here Lord tells us how we can worship the divine, how are the different ways people worship to the divine. It says Gnana Yagnena Yajanta Mam Upasate. So with knowledge, with Gnana Yagna, with the Yagna of Gnana, there is a Shravana, Manana, Nidithyasana, with the proper understanding, devotes to me. How? Ekatvena. Ekatvena means with the understanding of oneness, that Lord and the seeker both are similar. Their Tatvik Swarupa is the same, the Aikya Swarupa. So which is generally the Gnanis, they devote to the Lord through this understanding of oneness with the Lord. Whereas for the seeker, for a Jignasu who is on this path, he has to make prayatna, he has to make efforts to see this oneness with the Lord. Pruthatvena. Pruthatvena means that they all else, some of the other devotees, they actually devote to Lord with a difference in the Lord, with the Bhed Bhavna, that Lord is the Swami and I am the Sevak, I am the seeker, Dasa Bhava. So these are the different ways of devoting to the Lord, and always there is a difference between the Lord. They could never see the oneness with the Lord here. So that is Pruthatvena, that is a Pruthak Bhava, that is the differentiation Bhava, it is not the oneness. And the third is Api Anye Bahuda Vishwato Mukham. Some of the other people, they worship to the Lord as if He is all pervading in this world. Everything is pervading everywhere. He is Vishwarupa. He is everywhere in this world. So that is what somebody else thinks, and that is how they worship to the divine. So this is how different people worship to the divine with a different kind of understanding according to their own, mental framework. Now from the 16th to the 19th shlokas, for the 4 shlokas, Lord Krishna is showing his vibhutis in different areas. Essentially, vibhutis are his grandeur, where he will see that these are the areas where I am there. And the idea is that from a Saguna Sakara Swarupa, Avatar Swarupa, we have to try to see him in different areas of the world, in the universe, and then finally to see him as a Nirgun Nirakar Swarupa. Aham kraturaham yagna swadaham aushadam mantrohamahame vajyam ama agniraham hutam. So Lord Krishna is showing his vibhutis, and it talks about aham. He says aham 8 times in this shloka. But his aham, Lord Krishna's aham, his own identity, his own ego, his own I-ness is unlimited. It is everywhere, because he has a full knowledge of his his Tatvik Swarupa, and that's why his I is unlimited. Whereas Jiva, our I is limited to this body, mind, this intellect, this samuha, this conglomeration of this body, this mind, this intellect, sukshma, and the sthula sharira. That is where our I is limited to, and that's why that is the main difference between the ego of the jiva and the ego or the I-ness of the Lord. So when Lord talks about his aham, it never smells, it never sounds obnoxious, because it's very natural for him, because he is ever present, he is everywhere, and that's why he says aham. Aham kratuhu, he says I am the yagna form. In the Vedic karmas, in the Vedic times, yagnas were the most important karmas for all, especially the Brahmins, and that's why yagna is synonymous with karma in the Vedic era. Aham yagnaha. So he again says aham yagna. So yagnas, there are many Shrauta yagnas and many other yagnas described in the Smruti Shastra. Vedic Shastra is the Shruti Shastra, whereas there are many other Smruti Shastras also. Swada aham. Swada is basically all the oblations, ahutis given to the forefathers, Pitru. So these are called swada. When we give it to the god, we say swaha. When we give it to the forefathers or pitrus, we say swada. So swada, all these Lord is trying to say that you see me here everywhere. Aham aushadham. Aushadham are all the medicinal plants. So he's trying to tell us that I'm everywhere. Don't feel pride for any of your abilities, but I am in every way. Wherever you see any yagnas, any karmas, all the karmas, any ahutis given in the yagna is there in every form. Mantro hamahame vacham aham agniraham hutam. So mantro aham, he says I am the auspicious chants in the yagna. So during yagna, whatever is happening, he is in that swarupa. He says aham ajyam, I am the ingredients of the yagna. There are a lot of ingredients like ghee, tal are already used in the yagna vedi. And he says aham agnihi, I am the fire of the yagna, because whatever oblations are given are in the fire, and the fire carries all these to the Lord. So fire acts as a messenger in the yagna, and it's a very important work that fire does, takes all the oblations to the Lord. So he says aham hutam, I am the act of these obeisance, the ahuti, whatever we give, and all this in the yagna karma, whatever is already said in the previous shloka, brahmarpanam, brahmahavihi, brahmagno, brahmanahutam. So he is in every form in the karma, in the yagna, and all these forms are the Brahma Swarupa. Pita hamasya jagato mata dhata pitamaha Vedyam pavitram omkara ruksamaya jurevacha. Again he says, asya jagataha pita aham mata. I am the father and the mother of the world, because he is the eternal father and the mother, both of the world, because in every life our parents keep changing, whereas God is the constant parent for all the beings in every life. So he is the only real father and the mother of this world. He says, I am also the dhata. Dhata means sustainer, nurturer, and the grandfather, Pitamaha. Vedyam pavitram omkara. In the Vedas, he says, I am the auspicious Om. Om signifies, it's a one-letter word for Paramatma, for the Lord. And U, Ma, we have already seen this in the last, the 8th Adhyaya. And he says, Ruksama Yaju Evacha. I am the Rig Veda, Sam Veda, and Yajur Veda too. So all these in form of Vedas, he is there. In the form of Om, he is there. He says, I am the father, mother, Pitamaha. I am everything. We need to understand that Lord is in this world in all different forms. That is what Lord Krishna is trying to tell us, that just don't see me in one form or in the one name or in the one body. Try to see me everywhere in this world. Gatir bharta prabhu sakshi nivasa sharanam surata prabhava pralaya sthanam nidhanam nija mavyayam. So God again introduces himself and gives 12 attributes. He says aham gatihi, I am the journey which happens due to karma, and this journey could be during the journey of the world, or it could be journey after death also. Everything happens because of our karma. All the gati, all the onward journey, or whatever we get during this life also is because of karma. And all this, Bhagavan says, I am there to provide all this. I am the Bharta, I am the nurturer of all, because all this nurturing, our nurturing is done through our food, and our food comes from the Prithvi. And Prithvi is created by the Lord. Rains are created by the Lord. So through this, all this we get nurtured, all the beings get nurtured, and that is how we have to see that God is the nurturer of all. Aham Prabhuhu, I am the Lord, because He is the one who creates this world, who is the one who decides maintain this world and how to dissolve this world. So everything is, He is the Lord, He is the Prabhu, the Sakshi, because He is the Karma Tyaksha. He observes the karma of all the beings, and these karma are not just sthula karma or the outer actions, but the bhava or the attitude behind this karma. What is the bhava in our mind when we do that karma, whether it is there to help us, help somebody, help me, is it selfish, is it selfless? All these bhava determine how we get the karma phala. And that's why this is a huge task undertaking of all the living beings. I am the home for all. I am Nivasa. So this is where we go back when everything dissolves, when the Prithvi or the entire earth comes to the end, everything dissolves into the Lord. He is a home for all. He is a surrender place for everyone, because He is the only one capable to provide surrender to everyone. Whoever comes to His rest, surrender, He will give. He is a place, surrender place for all. And He is a Suruta. Suruta means He is a friend. But this Suruta means that He is a friend who does not, even accept or anticipate, or He does not even think about any reciprocation. That's how He keeps on doing for everyone. Naturally, all the best things that we have in our world, in our life, like air, oxygen, the food, the Prithvi, the air, water, everything is totally free of cost, given to us by the Lord. And that's how we can say that He is a Suruta. He does not reciprocate, does not want anything in return. Prabhavaha pralayah sthanam nidhanam bijam avyayam. Prabhava sthanam means I am the birthplace, I am the pralaya sthanam, I am the dissolution place, I am the nidhanam, nidhanam means I put or I hold the karma, because He holds the karma till it gives karma phala. And bijam means I am the unmanifest seed of everything, because it is from the beach that the bruksha comes or the plant is born. So He is the unmanifest seed of all the beings, and His avyayam, His tattvic or paramarthik swarupa. He says, I am the eternal, indestructible, unmanifest form, that is avyaya swarupa, akshara swarupa, akshaya swarupa. And this is what Lord Himself says. So in all the different forms, we have to see the Lord God in this world in the different forms. Tapamyahamaham varsham nigrumyutsrujami cha amrutam chaiva mrutyuscha sadasachaham arjuna. This is tapamyaham. As a sun, I only give all the heat. We see that the sun gives us the heat, but actually the heat of the sun has to be from some other source, because sun cannot keep on giving the heat for so many years. And that is the Lord Himself. He says, I am this, see me as this Swarupa. Aham varsham nigrunami. So here I hold the water for the rains. That is that He holds the karma for all the beings. Similarly, and utsrujami ahamcha. I shower it as the rain, because it gives the karma phala for everyone when the time comes. That is through the Lord. Amrutam cha eva mrutyu. I represent immortality and death, because immortality, of course, Lord Himself is a Tattvic Swarupa, which is immortal, which is Nitya. Whereas Mrutyu, also Lord Himself says in the 11th Adhyaya that He is the Kalosmi, I am the Kala, the Mrutyu Kala. He is in that form also. Chasat Asat Aham Arjuna, and I am the eternal, indestructible, and an illusion. Asat, Sat and Asat both. I am eternal as well as an illusion. So because Maya is also part of the Brahma, and when this forms, both this together forms Ishvara. So whatever you see here, the indestructible, that is the Lord, the eternal, indestructible, the Avyaya Tattva. Whereas whatever we see as the illusion, that is the world, the Jagata, which keeps changing, which is transient, which is evanescent, that destructible component which we see, which we can see, is also the part of the Lord. So all the different forms of the world, we have to see the Lord, everything is God Himself. Traividya mam somapa puta papa yagnerishva swarga gatim prarthayante te punyamasadhya surendra lokam ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan. So in this 20th shloka, Lord Krishna describes our onward journey after death, and he says all the Vedic karmas that are described in the 3 Vedas, including drinking of nectar to destroy impurities. By yagna, there are people, who go on the dharma marga. They pray for the heavenly pleasures because they want to do punya karma so that they can go to heaven after their death. And they're all by punya, asadhya, surendra lokam. By that punya, what they collect during their life, they achieve the indraloka. They go to the heaven during their life, after their death. And the divyan deva bhogan ashmanti. That means they enjoy the sense pleasures of the heavenly enjoyments, all the heaven, because the bhoga that are there in the heaven are higher than what they are in the world, obviously, and then they enjoy. And these bhoga are also enjoyed by the devas because they are meant for the devas essentially, and that is what is described. Etam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam shine punye martalokam vishanti evam trayi dharma manu prapanna gatagatam kama kama labhante. So tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam. So these people enjoy all the sense pleasures in the grand heaven, and then kshire punya martalokam vishanti. When their virtues, where their punya, they're all spent, they're all gets over, because when you do pleasures and bhoga, the punya gets spent, and when the punya gets spent, they again have to come back onto this martaloka. They are again born into this world. Evam trei dharmam anuprapanna. Thus, those who indulge in such selfish actions as described in the 3 Vedas, because in the 3 Vedas, a lot of karma kanda is main part of the Veda, where a lot of vidhi is said that you can do this karma. Those are the dharmic karma, but they are also sakama karma. They are done with the selfish motives to achieve something. That's how you do some of the yagnas and a lot of puja part to achieve some material goal. So these selfish actions or sakam karma, those people who desire this kind of sakama karma, they need to come again and again on this world. Essentially, they have to come gata agatam. They keep rotating in this world. Kama akama karma karte rehte, or they keep on moving in this world. So selfish people have to continue this cycle of birth and death. That is the tatparya of these 2 shlokas, the 20 and the 21st. Even if they go to heaven, enjoy the sense pleasures of the grand heaven, which are much higher than the world, but still after they are spent, they have to come back on this world, and then they have to live on this world again. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. So this is a very important shloka of Sri Bhagavad Gita. If we understand this shloka properly, then probably all our anxieties, stress will be relieved. Ye janaha, those people, irrespective of any age, sex, caste, anybody can do this, because when it comes to bhakti, there is no eligibility. Everyone is eligible for bhakti. Everyone can devote to the Lord. So Lord Krishna says, Ananya mam chintayantaha cha, those who remember me constantly with a 1-point devotion, Ananya chintayanta. That means that there is no anya thought in the mind. It is completely focused, and this could be taken for a gnani, for a sadhak, or for a bhakta. All can be, we can take this for anyone who devotes to the Lord with 1-point devotion. Paryupasate. Paryupasate means a worship, means paritaha upasate means a worship me with understanding, with a proper understanding that they see me everywhere in this world, in all the beings everywhere, not just in the temple, in a name or a form or an avatar swarupa only. So that is the kind of understanding that we need to have. Tesham nitya abhiyuktanam. And those who are always connected to me, nitya abhiyukta, always they are connected to the Lord all the time, constantly. There is nothing that they do for those people. Lord Krishna says, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. For them, I carry out their desires of achieving and protecting their possessions. So this is important to understand. Yoga and Kshema. These are the two words Lord Krishna uses. Yoga means to achieve what we don't have. Apraptasya prapti. What we don't have, we want to achieve. And Kshema. Kshema is protecting our possessions. Whatever we have already achieved, to protect our possession, that is the Kshema. So this, Lord Krishna says, I carry out, Vahami Aham, Vahamyaham, I carry out the desires of achieving and protecting their possessions. Because these are the two things for which we are always stressed out. For getting something, for achieving something, for getting something, and then once we get something, then we want to protect it. So half of our life, initial part of our working life goes in achieving. We don't have this, I don't have this, I should have this, I don't have this, I want to have a two-wheeler, then a four-wheeler, then a car, then a better car, more comfortable car, I want a bigger house, and then more salary, more income, more savings, more investments, a lot of insecurity. So we keep developing this on half of our life, work life goes in this. And after that, when we have enough, then there is a stress of protecting it, how to make it grow, how to protect it. It should not go into loss in the stock markets. We have to keep worrying for all this, all our investments, all of our attachments. So all this yoga and kshema are the two major stress factors which keep us running around in this world. Whereas God says that yoga kshemam vahamyam. For these people, I carry out their yoga and kshema, their stress of yoga kshema. Ananya mam chintayantah. So one who remembers me constantly with a one-point devotion. What is that kind of a one-point devotion? Means that it becomes a kind of a priority, most valuable thing in our life, where Lord Himself becomes a priority, the Jagata, the world becomes less of a priority, and the goal becomes very clear that attainment of the divinity is the ultimate goal. And that's why whatever small little things that happen to us in our life, we don't get too much bothered about it. Small little things, we don't get upset about it, because we always have that goal clarity in our mind. What is my ultimate goal? And all the efforts we do in our life to reach to that goal, so that every day we come a little closer to that goal. For some reason in the life, there can be several incidents where we go off track. It could be social reasons, it could be personal, it could be health related reasons, it could be accidental reasons, it could be anything. The state of the mind keeps varying. That's why for some reason we may have to go on a vacation, or whatever reason we get off track from our goal, and then we have to come back on the track. We have to pursue ourselves with our efforts. We have to come back with a lot of patience, persistence and determination in our sadhana, with a lot of enthusiasm. We have to continue this every day, every part of the day. And this is the only way we can get this understanding from the Lord, that yoga kshemam vahamyam. You don't worry. Lord tells us, I will take care of all your yoga kshema. All your stress of yoga kshema, I will be carrying all those. You don't need to carry this load. You can travel without your baggage. I will carry your baggage. That is what the Lord tells us. Pariyupasate basically means to worship the Lord with the proper understanding that God, Ishvara, Bhagavan is not just limited to one form or one avatara, is not sitting in the temple, but He is all pervasive. He is all pervading everywhere in the space. Space is the first dimension. Lord cannot be restricted to one space. That cannot be that Lord is here only and He is not in other country or in other space or other planet. He is everywhere. He is sarvatra. He is omnipresent. There is no one time that Lord is not there. He is there today, but He was not there yesterday. It is not possible. He has been Nitya. He was before also He was there. Now He is also there. In the future He will always be there. So it's every time He is there. And in all the objects, worldly objects, dimension, that the third dimension, the space, time, and the objects. Sarvas Rupa, he is there always. Bhagavana, we have to try and see how we can see Bhagavan in all the objects. That is the ultimate goal for us, how we can see the Lord as Sarvatra, Sarvada, Sarvarupa. And that is what is called Pariyupasate, worship with a kind of understanding. Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. It's a very important shloka of Gita Ji. It's a central shloka because 9th Adhyaya is the center of the Gita Ji. We are currently, the total there are 18 Adhyayas. And this is, it's the sole purpose of Gita Ji is actually to relieve the humanity from all the pains, miseries, sorrows, afflictions, our orthodox, our traditional thinking, and our raga, our parigraha, our anugraha, lot of our obsessions, and our sorrows, miseries, shoka, all this. And the message of the Gita Ji starts from the 2nd Adhyaya, the 11th shloka, Ashocyananva Shochastvam Pragna Vadanshcha Bhashase, and it ends at the 18th Adhyaya, about 62nd shloka, and Bhagavana says, Ma Shuchaha, don't worry. Ashocyananva Shochastvam means you are worrying for something that is not required. For useless things you keep worrying, Arjuna. And finally he says, Ma Shuchaha, don't worry, Arjuna. So essentially it means that Gita Ji itself is a scripture to relieve all our pain and miseries. And the world which is created by the Lord is not having any worries. There are no stress, there is no dukkha. But when our aviveka, the jiva, comes into play, his indiscrimination, his aviveka creates this samsara. And Bhagavan also is already said this in the previous adhyaya, the 8th adhyaya, that Sansara is a dukkhalayam and a shashvatam. These are the two words he has used for Sansara. It is an area where there is a lot of dukkha. So yoga and shema are both the things that give us a lot of worries. All our life we keep doing this. And Bhagavan says, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. I am going to take care of your Yoga Kshema. Don't worry. I will take care. I will carry this load. You don't worry. So Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham literally means that I carry your load. That is what it means. And there is a very beautiful story which our Guruji told us during this Bhashya. This is a story of one wise, learned Brahmin sage called Arjuna Mishra. And he was writing commentary on Mahabharata, 1 lakh shlokas. And he was writing a Bhashya, a tika on this Mahabharata, Arjuna Mishra. And when this shloka came, because Gita Ji is a part of Mahabharata. So when this shloka came, that Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham, I carry this load. And he started thinking, how can God carry so much of load on his mind for all the Yoga Kshema of all the beings? So he was, then he felt that I should take a break. He went to a lake to take a bath in the lake. And then he was thinking, how can God carry so much of load? So he thought that I should change Vahami, carry to Dadami, that I am the giver of all these Yoga Kshema. Does not carry this load. On this side, at his home, they were very poor. His wife did not have much food at home and she was worried. What will I do? In the meantime, a very small, beautiful child came to their home. He came with a load of food on his head and he put it down that potli, and the Brahmin's wife noticed that he had some turmeric applied on the cheek, and she asked the child, what happened? Did you get hurt or something? Because turmeric was used as an antiseptic in the Vedic eras. He says, what happened? Did you get hurt? He says, yes, your husband Arjun Mishra, he slapped me on my cheek. So the wife was quite perplexed. She said, yeah, did he? Okay, let him come home and I'll tell him. So when Mishraji came home, his wife told her, why did you hit the child? Mishraji said, no, I did not hit the child. Which child are you talking about? He did not know anything. And then he understood immediately that Lord himself has come carrying the load of food for their home where they did not have food. And he understood that Lord himself comes. Sometimes he sends someone as an emissary. In our own life, we must have experienced, and when we had difficulties, some unexpected help comes from somewhere, And this is what is the Lord's help. He carries this load for us so that we don't get disturbed. And Vishwaji converted Dadami back to Vahami and said that yes, Lord carries this load for everyone. And that is a very, very brilliant story that we heard. So Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham, Guruma tells us that in reality, everything is created by the Lord. Every power of this universe is of the Lord. And that's why the Sthula Jagata, the Sukshma Jagata, they are all created from the Panch Mahabhutas, which are of course created from the Lord with his Maya. And all the energy, everything created by the Lord belongs to him. And humans are not capable of producing anything. Actually, we can't produce anything. We can't produce air, we can't produce water, we can't produce fire, we can't produce anything. But we believe that I am the doer, I am the creator, I am the innovator, and we have this false sense of ego, thinking that I am doing this. But what we essentially do is we just assimilate some parts and think that I have created something. But those parts are actually created by the Lord himself. And that's why we are just instruments. We should try to see Lord's grace everywhere, wherever we are, whatever we do, whatever we create, whatever we innovate. And Lord has already told us in the previous Adhyaya, Ma Manusmara Yuddhacha, do your duties, Arjun. For us, it is all the same message. Do your duty with the best possible way. Remember him always. And now Lord Krishna tells us that don't worry, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam, I'll take care of all your Yoga Kshema. So the message is to do our duties in the form of Karma Yoga, do our best karma, don't neglect our Kartavya karma, and leave the rest, all the karma phala to the Lord, because he is the one who decides what will be the karma phala of our karma. Ye pyanna devata, ye pyanna ye pyanna devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yajantya vidhipurvakam. So Lord Krishna says here, what is the difference between devotion to him and devotion to the devatas, to Ishvara and to the devatas? So he says, ya api anya devata bhaktya, those who worship other devatas, because there's many different types of gods. Yajante shraddhaya anvitaha, worships with faith, avidhi purvakam, without proper understanding. Because this, they have faith in the devata, but they don't do it with the understanding that all these devatas are the same. They are all ashrita to the Lord. They don't have this kind of understanding. So he says, O Kaunteya te api mam eva ajanam yajanti. So they don't know, but they are actually worshipping me by worshipping all the devatas. That's what Lord Krishna says. So it's important to understand what is this relationship between the Paramatma and Devta, the Supreme God and the demigods. The Supreme God is one, demigods are many. For organizational efficiency of this world, this samsara, this jagata, the Supreme Divinity has created many gods. And it can be simplified by understanding how at the center we have a Prime Minister, and there are several ministers under him, and there are several members of parliament of the party which work in different constituencies. In the state level also, there is a chief minister, there are state ministers and the MLAs. All the ministers, MPs, MLAs are affiliated to the party and they are surrendered, ashrita to that party. And the roles, responsibilities of each of them have also been defined clearly, and they are all responsible to their party. Their powers are limited. Only the PM and the CM has more powers. They have all the powers in that state or in the center, but all the others have limited powers. Similarly, Paramatma and Devta, there are many Devtas, those who have given these portfolios, different portfolios, and they have limited powers. But everything, whatever we do, whatever they do, is ultimately it is the goes to the Paramatma or the Supreme Divinity. So there is one divinity, many Devtas. It's like all rivers, they meet the ocean. The system is created for people, for like us, who have different faith in different gods. But all the devas are essentially the same. Tatvik, they are all the same. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Mahesh, Ganesh, all these, all the Devis and Devtas, they are all essentially Tatvikally, they are the same. Ultimately, they are the Paramatma. So Supreme Divinity is one. They manifest in various different forms. That is how we have to understand. And the one who worships the Devtas unknowingly, God says he only worships me. अहं हि सर्वयज्ञानां भोक्ता च प्रभुरेव च न तु मामभिजानन्ति तत्त्वेन तश्चैत्यवन्ति ते. So the unwise who does not get the real benefit, mukti, says aham is sarva yagnanam. For all the yagnas, I am the bhokta and the prabhu. Prabhu cha eva. The receiver. Bhokta means whatever ahutis you give, I am the bhokta, it comes to me. I am the receiver of all in the yagnas, that all ahutis that you give, and I am the overlord, I am the prabhu. Natu mam abhijananti. The unwise do not know me. Tatvena atah chavanti te. They do not know my tattva. They do not reach their goal. They get lost in midway between, because they don't know me. They don't know that I am the overlord or the Prabhu. That's what Lord Krishna says. Yanti deva vrata devan pitrun yanti pirtru vrataha bhutani yanti bhutejya yanti madhya jinopi mam. So difference in the benefit of worship of Devta and Ishwar. Lord Krishna says that Deva Vrata Devanyanti. Those who worship the Devas, they attain the Devaloka. Those who worship the forefathers, the Pitrus, they achieve the Pitruloka. Those who worship the ghost, Bhutejya, the demons, etc., Tamasic, they attain their lokas. But the one who worships me, Madhyajina Mam Api Yanti, the Sattvic Bhakti, they attain me, they attain Mukti, they attain Moksha. And then finally Lord Krishna describes what are the ways of worshipping the divine. And he says the divine, they don't look at the objects, they see the bhava inside. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upahatam ashnami prayatatmanaha. How we can worship the Lord Almighty, we will see in the next session how we can worship the divine. Yat karoshi yadagnashi yajjuvoshi dadasiyat yat tapashvasi kaunteya tat kuru swadharpanam. This is what the God says. He sees only the bhava, the inner love. He does not see the object. We can worship him with just, if there is nothing else, with one patra, a leaf, a pushpa, a flower, phala, a fruit, or even toyam, with water. Whatever you offer me to me with devotion, for a person who keeps trying, that I accept it gladly, with gracefully, with love, whatever is done to me with love. So that is what Lord Krishna is trying to say, and we will see that in the next session. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parah Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.